Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program, where I've done quite a bit of work off camera, as you can tell by the pure blue stream of solar sails emitting from this planet, as well as just everything else that you see going on here with the ships going back and forth. So essentially what I've done off camera is I've harvested every single world in the system. I finished up a couple of things on the antimatter planet, which we will go back to here momentarily. And last but not least, I of course did some intermittent things here. One of which, let me find the one that's firing more. I made a new rail ejector blueprint. It's in the, what's it called? It's in the late game automation blueprint tab, and we have, I don't even remember how many. It's over, I think, 100 electromagnetic rail ejectors. Might be more like 50, I don't know. And of course, solar sails being requested, as well as proliferation Mark III, just to get that extra little bit. So that's why we have so many rails, or so many solar sails going to and from these different places. And then I went on ahead and took the liberty of doing pretty much almost everything, because we already had this blueprint here, so this was already done and dealt with. I'm going to need to check on the graphene, though, because it looks like our hydrogen isn't being off-dumped properly. And then we already had the quantum chip blueprint, we already had the titanium glass and the plane filter blueprint, we already had a titanium crystal blueprint. The only thing that I did was I went over here to Ursa Minoris, which actually has 2 orbiting planets around a gas giant, which I thought was kind of interesting. But we harvested the organic crystals from here with local power using the coal, and they're being sent here somewhere. And then we already had this blueprint for the strange matter and this blueprint for the graviton lenses. So the only 2 things that I have designed off camera, I also cut my deuterium thing in half again, was this bit here, which is our green science, which makes 5 green science per minute, and that is in a new blueprint folder titled Late Game Science. And then we also have our green science being turned into warpers, which this will supply all of our warpers in the entirety of, well, the universe, I guess. It's 32 per second with this little block right here. This is 5 green science per second. We only need 4 for this, not to mention the actual proliferation. So let's go on ahead and turn this on, shall we? And then I can move on and discuss what we did with the antimatter world, way down closer to the star. There it is. And then we can talk about what we're going to be doing for the rest of the series and the rest of today's episode, which I have a lot of work to do on preparations for the rest of the episode, so that'll be a future Benji problem. I just wanted to go ahead and record this and get this out of the way while I had the opportunity. Obviously, power is suffering. I can pull up the Dyson menu here. I still don't know why it's doing that weird, like, this thing. I don't really get what that is. That's really odd still. But we're almost fully there. I didn't notice on the structure points, which means I'm going to have to go turn that off soon and set it to local or remote supply for the rest of the small carrier rockets. And it looks like we're just a little under halfway done on the cell points. And I'm not sure why that is. We're supposed to be a little more than 2,000 being absorbed. I can't really see where all the solar sails are coming in from, because they're so tiny on this screen. Looks like we still have a pretty decent flow, so I don't know why that is. And yes, this is not deceiving you. 44 requested gigawatts with only 36 currently being generated, although, like I said, we're only halfway there on the actual sphere part of things, so we've got a bit to go in that regard. I just want to see Why is the green science only... Oh, power supply probably. If I had to guess, that's... Yeah, power supply is causing intermittent product proliferation. That makes sense. It's sad, but it does make sense. Yeah, insufficient power supply, which is why we're only getting barely anything. Granted, once we have antimatter online, we can just supplement the power supply for now, because this is requesting 9 megawatts, it's only getting 7, and yeah, that's not good. It's not good. Power supply is going to be an issue for a while. But just to proof of concept this, I'll go on ahead and smack that in. And we will see these guys get to work. And make us some warpers. There they go. Perfection. Right there, if I've ever seen it. Now, let's head over to our antimatter planet and see how everything is working over there. I love looking out into the galaxy and just seeing all of the ships. I don't know how well you guys can see it here, but way off in the distance over there, you can see all of my ships going to and from different systems. Beautiful. Honestly, it's beautiful. Alright, I'll be back in a second. And here we are back on the antimatter planet. This is my antimatter fuel setup. I'm pretty sure I copied this. I did not copy this, so I'm gonna have to copy this. The only thing that we have not done yet is actually processing the critical photons. What's the matter here? Ah, backed up on deuterium. That's a good problem to have. Now, the only thing that I need to do is actually set up all of our lovely miniature particle colliders in order to get this system operating. What side is it on? This side. I just want to make sure really quickly that this is all still good, and in fact it looks like it is fully backed up on graviton lenses. It would be on this side. Yes, it is fully backed up on graviton lenses. Good! Good, 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 good. That means we have a little bit of a buffer to work with here. Now, I don't necessarily remember here how many miniature particle colliders we need. 30. We need 30 because, right, it's a 1-to-1, technically a 2-to-2-to-2, but basically a 1-to-1-to-1. A lot of lava, don't really feel like dealing with the platforming, so I guess we can do it here. Or here. We'll do it here. We will do it here. So how do I want to set this up? Well, I want to have 4 lanes. And it should be rather easy to do that. I'm think-a-thonkin', and we all know how good that ends up being for Benej. But I'm gonna want... I feel like I'm gonna want a central output belt for everything. I'm stuttering, I'm so sorry. We're gonna want a central output belt for all of the critical photons, and then we're gonna want 2 output belts here and here for the hydrogen and antimatter to be going into. Like so. Yes, I think that's how I'm gonna want to do that. And we need 30, so 30 divided by 4 is like 7.5, so basically 8. So I'm gonna go on ahead, I will finish up this design, and I will be back shortly. I promise I will blueprint this in the meantime. I'll be back. Alright, we're done, and now we get to see it work. I hope. I set the cap to 5,000 because that's what the cap of this is, so theoretically speaking, that should be all that we're able to do. Can't tell if it's FPS related. No, it's definitely FPS related. because I can't see it moving. It looks like it's stagnant, but it's definitely moving at 30 per second. No doubt in my mind. Granted, there is just the huge backflow. And that is working. Yep. Looks like we've got roughly 15, roughly half a belt here, which should be expected. 15 and 15 makes, wouldn't you guess, 30. And then the antimatter and hydrogen, thank goodness for the recipe, they made it easy on us, is literally just a 1-to-1 for the hydrogen and the antimatter, for the antimatter fuel, which is just phenomenal. Like, literally, it is just phenomenal. Oh, I love that they made it easy on us. These are being made, these are being made, these are being made, so we are good. And now we will have triple proliferated, I think it's 5 per second antimatter fuel rods, which should be plenty for pretty much every purpose I'm gonna have, because most of my stuff is gonna, most of my power generation stuff is gonna revolve around the Dyson spheres and the ray receiver, rather than actually dealing with the artificial stars. But certain planets need a boost for the artificial stars, so obviously we're gonna have to have artificial stars. Granted, I don't need these, I only need these guys. And this needs to be infinite. Yeah, distance to enable warp needs to still be up, because it's going to be transferring antimatter fuel within the system, as well as graviton, or space warpers, not graviton lenses, space warpers within the system as well. So that still needs to be warp distance controlled. However, it does need to be infinite, that way it can supply these everywhere. That's kind of the key, is that these get supplied everywhere. Now, as far as I'm aware, everything here is working and able. It is backing up, which is good. That's a result of the triple proliferation, which is exactly what we want to see. Perfection. Now we can go sort out whatever troubles are happening over here and see what's going on with our power supply. Now, granted, I'm assuming that the power supply issues are mainly as a direct result of the fact that it's so far from the sun, it's just not getting as much power as other planets in the system are. But we're still gonna go check it out just to be thorough. And that will conclude this project, which means we're moving on to our main and final goal for the series. Sad, because I don't know where else to go after this, but it's going to be a big one, so we're fine overall. And I'll talk about that more in a second. Right now, this is still very, very much suffering, and I don't think it's going to get better as the Dyson Sphere grows, or at least not much better, because these are already only 1 megawatt away. And I can go check the planetary ring blueprint. It's only 100, so that'll only give us like an extra 100-ish megawatts, probably more like 50, and the demand is all the way up in gigawatt range. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is go to somewhere with a little bit of space, but not enough space to matter that much. Like right here. Place down one of these guys. Antimatter fuel, remote demand. Keep that up there, that like that. And then I don't need anything else. But I'll go on ahead and put this to 1000. And then we can grab this antimatter fuel out. And where are my artificial stars? They are here. Now we can place down our artificial stars, and once we have enough antimatter fuel, we will be able to start supplying these guys with some actual power. And then, of course, I am going to make sure that it's all connected into the grid. It looks like it is. So we're just waiting on antimatter fuel. I think I'm going to place down... what? That would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. I think I'm going to place down 10 of these guys. There. Perfection. So now with 10 artificial stars, whose power generation is what? I don't even know. 72 megawatts. That should be fine. And with the extra addition of a completed Dyson Sphere, once we actually get there, which it does look like it is now fully reliant on sail launching. Very good. That means I have to go fix that next. But this system should now be entirely self-sufficient, which means I can talk about my other goal. Did I get rid of the sheet? Of course I got rid of the sheet. Why wouldn't I get rid of the sheet? Good job, Benji. So this sheet is not yet finished, but it is in the description below. It will be finished by the time it is given to you guys. But this is going to be where all of my science calculations are done. So I have one for yellow, I need one for purple, or well, I need one for yellow and purple. Those have not been finished yet. But blue science is done because it's super easy. It's literally just magnetic coils and circuit board. Magnetic coils are just magnets and copper. Circuit boards are just iron and copper. So it's literally just iron and copper. Easy peasy, done and dealt with. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Then red science is a little bit interesting, and I'll go through this a little bit. Essentially, we need oil and coal input, and we go through a system of recipes. Starting with the oil cracking, we take oil and turn it into refined oil and hydrogen. That refined oil and hydrogen then goes in and combines with coal using the reforming refine recipe to create 60 refined oil. It essentially turns the hydrogen into oil, or refined oil using coal. And that's another bunch of machines. Then there's the X-ray cracking, which is a little bit more convoluted overall. And essentially it takes the hydrogen and refined oil and turns that into one extra hydrogen and energetic graphite as a result. Now, the red science uses energetic graphite and hydrogen at a 2-to-1 ratio, 2-to-1. So, in order to get this recipe, the X-ray cracking, we have a net input of 0 hydrogen with a net output of 1-to-1, which is fantastic. So refined oil, hydrogen, energetic graphite, with just a little bit of an extra step. And by a little bit, I mean 240 refineries. So we need a big planet and a lot of oil per second, which is just absolutely insane. So this is going to be a fun project to do, but it's entirely oil and coal. Usually coal is found on planets with oil anyway, so that's not going to be hard. Green science we've already dealt with, and I was starting to work on a little bit of stuff here, and I figured it ended up just being useless. But essentially, the strange matter for the graviton lenses is a bit of a pain. Guess what? Our dear friend deuterium is back to play, so we're going to have to deal with that some more. Particle containers are still a thing, so electromagnetic turbines, graphene with the fire ice, or if I do the standard recipe so I don't have to deal with the hydrogen byproduct, or if I want to use the hydrogen product for the deuterium. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. That's a future Benji problem. And then the blue chips is obviously the quantum chips. It's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt, so we'll get there when we get there. And then yellow science, haven't done a thing for. Purple science, haven't done a thing for. So let me pan back to the game here. Yellow science isn't too difficult, it's just diamonds, so I would like to do kimberlite for this, if I can find a system that has like 20 million kimberlite. And then organic crystals for, like, straight up harvest organic crystals instead of having to do plastic, which is refined oil and water, and refined oil, and then just titanium. So buttloads of titanium, organic crystal, and hopefully kimberlite for the diamonds, so those are kind of a must. And then the purple science is just the processors, which is essentially silica, copper, and iron. Just a lot of it, which is not hard. And then the particle broadbands, which is a little bit of a pain in the butt because we need the carbon nanotubes, so hopefully spinoform. If not spinoform, graphene is involved, which could be a hydrogen byproduct, or sulfuric acid and coal, which I don't like the idea of, or some other convoluted loop that I just thought of where we take the fire ice, turn it into hydrogen, and then part of that hydrogen goes in with refined oil to do the X-ray cracking, and oh, no, I don't even want to think about it. But hopefully spinoform stalagmite crystals, and then silica crystals, or crystal silica. So we could either find the fractal silica, or we could just use a lot of regular silica. And I don't really like either of those options, but I feel like fractal silica kind of takes the cake on that one, just because of the quantities that we're gonna need for this. It's a 1-to-1, so we need particle broadbands per second, which means 60 of these crystal silica per second, which would mean 30 fractal silica per second, or 120 high purity silica ore per second, which, no thank you. I don't want to deal with that. But I'm gonna have to. And then plastic is, of course, its own thing. Refined oil isn't too bad because we can get refined oil without a byproduct using the reforming refined recipe with the coal, so that's not too bad. But the plastic, no, we're already talking about the plastic. The energetic graphite is going to come from coal as well, so very coal hungry. And I need to figure that out all on the sheets. Again, the sheets are down below in the description, but once I have all of that figured out, I will announce... I'll go ahead and announce it. For all of this, I want it to be kind of its own hub. So what I've done for the past couple of projects is I will have one planet for one specific thing. So one planet for all of my antimatter stuff, one planet for all of my smelting, and then one planet for all of my graviton lenses, warpers, and stuff like that. What I want to do for the sciences is I want to smelt everything for all five? Yes, all 5 sciences, technically 4, because this one's only oil. Anyway, all 4 sciences, I want to have all of the smelting in one place. Whether it's one star system, or one planet, or what, I don't know. But I want to have all the smelting in one area. Then I want to have all of the quantum chips, all of the processors, all of, here, the circuit boards, for example. I want all the circuit boards for the entire project produced in one spot, instead of like, oh, well, this star system over here is going to be for, blue science, and this star system over here is going to be for, green science. And no, I don't want to do that. I want to have just one area for each thing, one area for all the smelting for all 4 sciences, one for all of the chips for all 4 sciences, one for all of the oil processing for all 4 sciences, minus maybe red science. Red science I might make its own thing just because of how much oil it actually needs, and coal. But that's going to be something that I figure out over time. It's not something that I'm ready to continue discussing at the moment, so I'm going to finish up the sheets, get all of the calculations done, and figure out how much stuff we need in general, and then I will come back to you guys with a report on that one. Also, look how many optical grading crystals there are here. Oh, actually, this might be this might be the jackpot. Kimberlite, fractal silica. I'll be back. I have some stuff to think about. I'll be back. Oh, yeah, and by the way, it was a good call on the stars, because power is good to go, which means all of this is working in tip-top shape. Good. As is this. Good. As is this. Good. As is this. Good. This. Good. This is working, obviously, minus some graviton lenses, which are currently being produced. And warpers are good. Good, 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 good. Good. Good! Alright, now I'll be back for real. Thanks for sticking around. Okay, so I did some number crunching, and I also finished up everything with the Google Sheets, so those are in the description. All of my science sheets are completed. Obviously, I do still have them as viewer only for obvious reasons. I can't just have random people click on the video, open it up, and then ruin the sheet for everybody else. But you should be, excuse me, you should be able to make a copy or copy and paste the cells you desire into your own Google Sheet or Excel file, Microsoft Excel, and edit whatever cells you need to from there. It should be able to work that way. I've done it before with other YouTubers' content. It's just been a while, so I kind of forget how. But you'll notice we are in a new area. That system that I looked into, the Altinen system, is phenomenal. This place is great. Like, the only thing that's wrong with it is the fact that the largest orbital radius is 14 AU, but that can be mitigated with more logics, more planet interstellar logistics hubs, or the use of warpers, which we now have 32 per second being made for our entire system. So this place is great. The only other downside is the fact that it's very far away from everything else. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. But overall, the resources that are here, 300 million iron, almost 600 million copper, 200 million silica, 350 million titanium, 400 million stone. Like, even 23 million coal is pretty good. And on top of that, the kimberlite. Like, we only are going to end up using the coal for our oil processes. And then the kimberlite is just going to be used for the diamonds, because we have, what, 6 times as much kimberlite as we do coal? And then, not to mention, 32 million fractal silica and 22 million optical grading crystals. Like, if we wanted to, we wouldn't even... Well, actually, no, I don't think we are using No, we are. Yeah, we are still using organic crystals for the titanium crystals for yellow science. That's why we need organic crystals. But we don't need the organic crystals for the blue chips, the quantum chips, for our green science anymore, because of the fact that we have the optical grading crystals at our disposal. Like 22 million, 240 per second, that's insanity. And there's another system somewhere that has even more, so we'll be able to just tap that if we need to. The only issue is the fact that we do still need ourselves a couple of other resources. So I'm going to pull this up right here. Brightness warning, by the way. There we go. We have all of the totals here for everything. So 600 iron, 420 copper, at least 100 coal. The possibly 180 more was for the diamonds. But now we're going to be using the kimberlite instead, so we know for a fact that that is not the case, so we only need 100 coal. This is all per second values, by the way. 80 oil per second, so a couple of oil systems. 150 titanium, 360 silica, and that's obviously the plate value. It's double that for the ore. 240 optical grading crystals, 180 spinoform, which I still have to figure out where I'm going to get that from. 60 fire ice, which there is some fire ice in the system, and there will be more elsewhere. Fractal silica we have here already. Organic crystals we can get. I labeled a couple of different systems, like Ursa Minoris, Cursa, Kappa Doratus, and Cygni have organic and more oil. And these are the smelting setups that we are going to need. In addition to that, wrong buttons. There we go. In addition to that, I have labeled the planets and how I want to use them. First of all, we're going to have titanium, silica, and other, so diamonds, fractal silica, that kind of stuff is all going to be processed here. Iron, copper, and glass are all going to be processed here, and that's because both of these have almost 100% construction area. And then intermediate processing is going to be things like electromagnetic turbines, gears, processors, things of that nature. If we need even more than that, we can go to another planet or back to one of these planets for more advanced crafting things. This planet is also going to end up having all of my graphene processing from the fire ice. This planet out here has 100% construction area. This is going to be where we have all of our wonderful science manufacturing. So green science, blue science, everything science-wise is going to have the intermediate products shipped to this planet, and then this planet is just going to bada bing, bada boom, use them. And then down here, this one is going to be fully dedicated in its entirety to oil processing, because it has the highest value of coal, 16 million. There's only 23 million, so that's where all of our coal is located, in addition to the fact that it has a lot of the construction area. And this planet is sort of undecided as of now. That's because the construction area is low, wind and solar ratios are low, and it has pretty much all of our kimberlite as well as some fire ice, which we will be using in some extent for the graphene. So, with all of that said, I'm actually going to end the episode here, and next time we will begin with all of our smelting setups, because all we have to do is just place everything down. Obviously, I have a lot of work to do logistics-wise, placing down these hubs to get everything going where it needs to, like the coal and the stone and everything else. And I need to actually harvest all of these planets, as well as design a Dyson Sphere, which I guess that'll be the last thing that I mention before we head out here. This is a almost 5 radius star. For reference, our star that we just worked with, the antimatter fuel production one, was 2.6 radius and 1.8 luminosity. This star is quite literally the best luminosity in the game. Luminosity values go from, I think, 0.1 on black holes up to 2.5. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the best one that we are ever going to get. The radius is going to make things a little bit difficult in terms of designing a Dyson Sphere, because I'm pretty sure the minimum orbit radius that we can do is not that small. Oh, actually, no, that's decently small. 8,000. That's decently small. Obviously, we're going to go a lot bigger than that because we're going to need a bunch of critical photons per second again. But at this point, I'm talking too much. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Please have a fantastic rest of your day. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. This video is in the bag, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, y'all.